Hello everyone, I'm Leanne and thank you for visiting my channel. I say this with love 33. If this is your first time here, go ahead and give it a listen. See if there's something that I say that might trigger you, that might resonate with you, and you might feel something in your heart, and it might want to take you into a little deeper space if you're ready to be on that path. If you're a returning visitor, thanks for being here. I ask that you come back to watch the videos, try some yoga, do some meditations. This channel I have created to offer humanity a space of love, unconditional love, raw, true stories, my wisdom, my top knowledge that I have learned, and I'm here to offer it to the world. So today I wanted to talk about something that I have mentioned so many times in my videos, and I think I'm realizing today, oh my gosh, like I don't even know if everybody knows what that is, because I sure didn't until I was much older in life, almost 54. Oh my God, my curtain's gonna blow. Okay, we're gonna keep rolling. Anyways, it's the inner child. I did not know what an inner child was. I kind of heard the term loosely throughout my life, but I had no idea to the degree that it means. And I went ahead and did some research. I have been a preschool teacher. Well, I'm retired now, but I was a preschool teacher for many years. And that was kind of before I learned about the inner child, but being a teacher to these younger 4 and 5-year-olds and seeing their connections or lack of with their parents and caregivers, it just was already being brought to my attention through my students, and I have learned so much and gained so much knowledge from this. And then I've been able to use it in my life, in my family's life, like to just see. So I want to talk about the inner child and how significant it is to heal your inner child so that you might be able to move further onto your path and find your inner peace. So let me start by reading. I took some notes and I want to tell you what they classify as an inner child. An inner child is a psychological and metamorphical concept representing the subconscious, the part of an adult that retains childhood memories, emotions, and beliefs, both positive and negative. The positive ones being joy and creativity, negative being fear and trauma. It influences adult behaviors, relationships, and reactions, particularly under stress. So when I read this, and then I thought back in my life, and then in my marriage and my children and my friends and family members and everybody that I know, and I'm thinking about this and thinking about me specifically and how I reacted and responded all the years of my life, how my ex-husband did, how my children do, how coworkers do. And it makes such a difference to grasp the concept of what an inner child is and then be able to see people through the eyes of looking into them as their wounded inner child. It like takes the weight of the world off your shoulders because you can see them from a different space. And then you're going to learn not to take things so personally, and it has nothing to do with you. Like their reaction and their things that are going on have nothing to do with you. It's all within them, inside them, deep inside them, that they're not even aware of, because we're not aware of our wounded inner child unless we've been consciously taught and perhaps gone to therapy or did some healing on it. So to heal your inner child, you need to learn how to provide yourself with the safety, love, and validation that may have been missed in your childhood. I had to do that. I learned how to do that, and that has made a world of difference in my whole life. You need to provide yourself self-compassion, meeting your own needs, and honoring your emotions. And these healing modalities helps to dismantle ingrained patterns. So if you can stop and think about just yourself, for instance, not anybody else, like don't start the journey of like putting it outwards if you're upset with somebody, or if you're, not getting along with your spouse. Well, they're this and they're that and blah, blah, blah. Just stop and go inward and think about you. Really, really quiet your mind and reflect on you and your reactions and your patterns and your habits and the sediment in your cup that gets stirred up if somebody says something to trigger you. Really take time to think about that and think if you can recognize that, oh my gosh, like I think like I need to heal my inner child, because some of these things that she's saying is sparking a little bit of perhaps a little bit of trigger, maybe a little defense mechanism, maybe a little bit of like shame or guilt. I don't know. I had all these things, and when I was able to go in and heal them, and it's not an overnight process, it's going to take a minute, but it can help you to move forward and to continue to evolve and have emotional regulation and understand why you might have been triggered throughout your life in ways that you are. So something else that I wanted to talk about today was 5 core inner child wounds. And I'm gonna say, as I was writing these down and thinking about them, I'm like, oh God, like I scored 5 out of 5. And it's not really a test, but as I was writing them, I'm like, okay, yes, this is me. Yes, no, excuse me, this was me. This was me. This was me. This was me. So think about it. I'm gonna go through the 5 and see what you think. So the 5 core interchild wounds are number 1, rejection, which tells the child and makes the child feel, I'm not good enough. Did you feel like that? Did you have a family, perhaps a caregiver, that was rejectful towards you? And then as we grow up, and the adult trait is going to become the person that wears the withdrawer mask. So be aware of this. Number 2, abandonment. And that tells the child that I will be left alone and abandoned. So when we grow up, we're going to wear the dependent mask. We become dependent on everybody and everything to help fulfill us. Number 3, humiliation, which tells the child, I'm worthless, I'm dirty. And that, as an adult, turns into the trait of the masochist mask. Betrayal, I can't trust anyone. And as an adult, when we have that betrayal wound, we grow up with a controller mask. Now, how many people do you know, if you aren't yourself one, a controller? I unknowingly was controlling everybody in my circle's life because I just wanted to make sure everybody was happy and didn't have any problems or didn't ever feel icky like I did as a child, and I became a controller. Ooh. Last one, injustice, which tells the child life isn't fair. And then when you grow up, your adult trait is going to be the one that wears the rigid mask. Me. Yeah, that was me. I was so rigid. I was a withdrawer. I was dependent. I was a masochist. I wore the controller mask and I wore the rigid mask. All the wounds of the inner child, things that they classify the 5 wounds, were me. And then I'm going to go a little deeper into that and share this, because in my natal birth chart, and you know, there's Saturn and Chiron and all the things that take place, and the Saturn in Aries trait, which is my Saturn is in Aries, is the wounded inner child. And for the first 54 years of my life, and I was going through all these lessons and traumas and all the things of that I thought was just normal in life, and everybody goes through them, but it was specific wounds like tied to my inner child that I had no clue of. And now that I'm aware of like natal birth charts and the placements of the planets and the planetary alignment, woo! And I can proudly say and share with you that I have been able to heal all my inner child wounds. No, it wasn't easy. Yes, you go in deep, and you go in very deep and feel things and drudge things up to push into and release it. And it just feels so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Just think about it. Even maybe you yourself. How many people, including yourself, do you know are just walking around in this life with their inner child wounds, unbeknownst to them? But like, say somebody that you know, like, you know, say you're out to dinner with friends and then you're talking and having a good time, and then somebody says something and it triggers somebody that has a deep inner child wound, and they just fly off the handle and they're screaming and cussing and being mad, and they're rigid and they're controlling everything. Like, how many people do you know like that? Because we just take it normal. Oh, they just must be having stress today. No, like things go so much deeper than just surface level. And the wounded inner child is a place to really push into and look at. Common signs of an unhealed, wounded child. Here's me. This was me my whole life. Codependency or self-sabotaging behavior. I was a class A, #1 codependent. And I was so defensive that if anybody ever called me a codependent, I'm like, no, I'm not. Why would you even say that to me? I am not codependent. I am so independent, it's not even funny. I was in such denial. And so I was like, so like controlling and rigid. Another sign of an unhealed wound is fear of vulnerability or intimacy. Me, I had total fear of vulnerability. I am still learning how to be vulnerable. And through the healing of my inner child and learning to love myself and the practice of yoga and meditation, I'm going to say that has helped a lot with the vulnerability. But I still notice, and I'm aware of it, that there's places where I can be more vulnerable. So it's not completely like all gone, like poof, it's magic. No, it's constant. You're always peeling the layers. So think about if you are codependent or have self-sabotaging behaviors, if you have a fear of vulnerability or intimacy. Another one is attracting similar unhealthy relationships. Do you continually attract the same types of relationships again and again and again and again? Whether it be, so like if you're a woman and you're like attracted to the bad boys and you always get with the bad boy and then you're like, oh, this is the one, like we're soulmates. And then, a few months in, you're like gone, he's gone. And it's just like, oh, so like, and then you attract the same guy. Or if you're a man and you attract the same type of woman, whatever it is, somebody that might be controlling, somebody that might be dependent, somebody that might be rigid, somebody that might be a masochist. Think about these things. And then go deep into the inner child and think about your own inner child, because I do say this with love, but I'm going to tell you, you cannot heal me. Nobody can heal anybody else's inner child. We can only heal our own, and it is a choice. So if you're in a relationship or a space where you're unable to look at yourself, but you're very able to look at everybody else, stop and think and tell yourself, I can't heal their inner child. They have to do the work. And even if they're not ready to do the work, or you ask them to, or you beg them to, or you be like, hey, you've got some inner child issues, and if you want to stay married, you better go heal them. They might not be ready yet. They might not understand what you're talking about. But just know you cannot heal anybody else's inner child. They have to go deep within themselves. So remember that. Another trait of a sign of an unhealed wound, low self-esteem and a constant need for external validation. Me, I had a low self-esteem for the first 54 years of my life. I don't really feel like I might have had a constant need for external validation, but you know what? No, let me take that back, because when I wasn't feeling good, and even in one of my current videos, like I talked about like when I wasn't happy and I was eating like sugar and I was turning to food and feeling sorry for myself on the couch, and then I would eat all these things and then I wouldn't feel good. So yeah, I was looking for external validation to bring me peace and contentment. I admit that. I don't do that anymore, because now I'm so hyper aware of triggers and the need for external validation. And as I've gone through my journey of healing on these past 3.5, 4 years, I'm able to see me and my signs of unhealed wounds that I had carried, and some that were still peeling more layers. It can go deeper and deeper and deeper. But I specifically see like my friends, my coworkers, my acquaintances, my past friends, my mom, my dad, who are both not here anymore, but I can see their inner child wounds and why they were the way they were. And it's so obvious to me now. And it's like, man, I wish I can help everybody. And I know I can't, but I'm just making these videos to put out this knowledge and wisdom that I have come around and learned and experienced. Like if I haven't experienced it, I'm not going to tell you about it, because I don't know. But I'm a true believer, if you've walked the walk, you can talk the talk. And everything I tell you, I have walked that walk. And everything I tell you is my truth. And like I've said before in other videos, just don't take my word for it. Question things. Discern what is right for you, because what might be right for me may not be right for you. And I can tell you that I've been to the event. I told you I went to the Awaken Your Highest Self events a few times actually, and we do deep inner child work, and we go in and do deep breath work, and it's all guided. And like after that first day of the breath work and going in and healing that inner child, oh my gosh, it was so magical. It was so magical. And I don't want to tell you about it in case you ever get to go. I highly recommend it, but just know that you can go back in time in an energetic space and heal your wounded inner child. Okay, so let's go back to the common signs of an unhealed wound. How about if you have difficulty setting boundaries or saying no? Me, that was me. My whole 54 years of life, I couldn't say no. I had zero boundaries. Everybody walked all over me with the help of me. I co-created that. And I remember one time I had this friend who was a very like type A personality, and she asked me to do something, or she asked me to come play bunco or something at the last minute. And I said, well, why do you ask me? She goes, because I know you won't say no. And that statement like kind of stuck with me and like kind of stung me in the heart a little bit, but this was years ago when I was in the midst of all my unhealed self, truly. But I'll never forget that she said that to me. And now it is so significant and it means so much. And I was just like, dang, like she could see that a mile away. Just like now I am able to see people like and their inner child wounds a mile away. But to take advantage of somebody like that, that's not mindful. That's not good either. But I'm aware of that now. So your inner child. So as you're a child, an infant, a young toddler, a young child before the age of 7, wherever the trauma occurs, however old you were when that first trauma happened, you become stagnant at that age, emotionally frozen at the age that the trauma occurred. So if you look at yourself and you think back like, oh God, like sometimes I act like a 3-year-old throwing a tantrum, well, then you know what? Something might have occurred really tragically at the age of 3. If you look at friends, acquaintances, family, a spouse, and you're like, damn, they act like a child throwing a tantrum, well, now you know why. And I can say, that was me. I had that experience too. And this is my raw, true story. So I'm just going to say it. Like I had that experience and I was unaware of the inner child and the healing and all that stuff for all the years. I just thought it was me. Like I took everything on as my problem and my fault. And then I would turn around and say like, God, like he's acting like a 3-year-old or 4-year-old throwing a tantrum. Like grow up. You're an adult. Quit acting like a baby. And now hindsight, all these years later, I was like, oh, Fabian, I get it. And it kind of softens your heart with more forgiveness and understanding of why people are the way that they are. Yeah, you need boundaries and you need to have respect and love, but also when you're able to see people for their inner child wounding and yourself, most importantly, yourself, there's a whole lot of softness that comes in. And if you can go in and heal that inner child, and there's professionals out there, and there's coaches, and there's ways to do it, and through breath work and meditation, even in a meditation, if you follow one of my meditation videos and you go in and talk to your inner child, and perhaps I'll make one really soon here, and I think I will. It's going to open up your heart space. And if you can go in and tell yourself that you love yourself as a child and you did it and you're proud of you. Yes, you're talking to yourself, but you're talking to the subconscious that is locked in of that wounded inner child. And you're going to feel like unlocking and like warmth and peace radiate from your inner self in your heart. It feels so good. Like, it felt so good when this occurred. And every time I go into my deep breath work or to my awaken events, I go deeper and deeper. And each day I love myself more and more and more unconditionally, because I've been able to cut those chains and heal that trauma of the inner child. So I don't have fear, guilt, or shame. And it's available to all of us. And again, I say this with love, everything is a choice. If you make the choice to go in and heal because you're feeling icky and you're tired of having triggers and you're tired of this and you're tired of that and you want to be happy and joyful again, push into that inner child, all right? I'm going to end this video. I am going to make a meditation video on going in and healing your inner child. So I appreciate you being here. I do say all this with love. These are true stories. Yeah, they're raw. Yeah, they're hard. Nothing's easy that I'm putting out there. I can attest to that. But if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I said it right. And thank you for being here. Namaste.